So both my parents actually went here for gymnastics as well. My dad's from Georgia and my mom's from Chicago, but recruiting just took them all over. And same thing kind of happened to me when I started gymnastics, and then in high school, really in eighth grade, I started getting recruited and wanted to explore the Big Ten conference. And at that point, I kind of wanted to stay in the SEC at first, but once I started to look into Big Ten, then it didn't cross my mind that I would go anywhere other than Nebraska because I have that legacy and that history here, and everybody knows my parents, and it's so cool. So I love that community feel and just that family.
What does it mean to continue the legacy of coming here after your parents came here?
It means a lot to me. This is kind of a tough question because sometimes I go back and forth with thinking, hopefully people don't feel as though I'm here just because of my parents. But I think that it's a platform that's exciting to carry on, and I was a little worried how it would work when I came here. My mom, she was obviously a gymnast on the team, and so was my dad. My dad had a lot of NCAA accolades, and then after that, he went to the Olympics with Francis Allen, his coach, who our facility is now named after. So I would say that my dad had a little bit more success after his college career, which I think helped me because it allowed me to kind of not be compared to him since men's and women's sports are kind of different. So I was really able to kind of have my own path here and make my own name, which I'm super grateful for, while still kind of carrying on that legacy, but not in a comparison way.
Between your three events that you did last year, which one did you think was your strong suit? Which one did you have to work more in this offseason?
That's a good question. So I competed vault, bars, and beam last year, and I've always been a bar girl. That is definitely my asset. You know, I do everything, but that's really my forte, so to speak. And this year I had some trials with that. I had a couple falls mid-season that kind of rocked my confidence a little bit. So that kind of left me no choice but to sink or swim in that moment. I also had two falls like back to back at meets. So after it happened the second time, like I said, I was kind of like shook up. So I would say that even though that's my strongest event, that required a little bit more mental toughness after that happened. And on the other hand, beam sometimes can be a rocky event. It's fairly shaky, and I don't know, it's one of the scarier ones to compete. And this year I found that I really got into my element on that event, which wasn't all that surprising, but sometimes it's hard to continue building that confidence. And I got better and better at each meet, and I would get career high after career high, like 4 or 5 in a row until eventually I got my PB. So that was really exciting for me. I definitely had a strong year on beam this year.
How do you manage your stress of athletics and academics?
Just the same as most student athletes, I really need to personally remain organized and just make sure I have a calendar and a planner. That really helps me. Some people, you know, are really just free-spirited and easygoing, and I'm not like that. I'm very structured. So that's something that I have found works for me personally. Also, I happen to balance everything better when I have more on my plate, ironically, and when I'm juggling a lot. I pay a lot more attention to my schedule, and you know, I'm able to just book things one after the other versus, you know, every once in a while just having something to do kind of leaves me lazy or like not as intentional in my academic and athletic life, I would say. Yeah.
What does your practice schedule look like compared to your academic schedule as a student athlete?
Like hour-wise or just schedule during the week?
You do look like a daily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So mostly the last 3 years I've worked out 1 to 5 in the afternoons, which means I have morning classes. Normally I take two, so like 9:30 to 10:45, or today, for example, I have a 9:30 to 10:45, and then I have an 11:30 to 12:20, and then I kind of run straight to practice around 12:30 to do prehab and get dressed and get ready for practice 1 to 5. Although this year I had some class conflicts, so this is a good question as far as academics because most sports and coaches will tell you, like, you know, you want to be academically successful and they want school first. And my schedule is a really good example of that because on Mondays and Fridays I have a sign language at 2 o'clock, and so obviously that's right after practice has started. So I actually have to work out individually 11:30 to 1:30 by myself, and then I quick take a body shower, get dressed, go to class from 2 to 2:50, come back at like 3:15, and then finish the second part of my workout, which is not ideal, but it's kind of what you have to do, and you kind of have to have that grind as a student athlete to get everything done. And I'm so grateful to my coaches for working with me on that because we have several people on my team who have class conflicts. So like I said, not ideal, but we make it work and we get everything done, even if I'm running around the whole city of Lincoln, it seems like at times, going to East Campus and back and practice and lift and all that type of thing.
You were first team Big Ten last year. How did that feel, and how do you improve from that mark?
That was so amazing. Literally the best award I could have asked for. That award to me is a prime example of consistency, and that's always what I've considered myself. You can bet on me, you can count on me consistency-wise if it's not always like the flashiest skills. So having that award, was an attest to all the work I've put in to kind of like remain calm under pressure. So how I move forward from that is take from me what has worked the last couple years and disregard what has not. Clearly I was able to get there and hit that stride last season, so I'm just trying to not add any extra pressure to myself to like remain there, but rather kind of think of it as a journey and just think like, what can I do again that I did last year that got me to that point.
Having come off a 6-10 record last year with the team, and then you having a successful season last year, how is the team preparing for this upcoming season?
We are changing a lot of things about this preseason. We actually got a new addition to our coaching staff. We got 2 new coaches, a new assistant coach and volunteer assistant, and their history and their background is absolutely amazing. Our new coaches, they were in Cirque du Soleil. Our volunteer actually was in the Olympics for Great Britain. They have a lot of amazing history and just techniques that they can bring to the table. We've started conditioning a lot earlier. We literally condition like almost 3 times a day. We have a whole new warm-up implemented that allows us to remain that consistent cardio each day so we can start our stamina now, which hopefully will allow routines to be easier sooner because in gymnastics, even though we don't start till January, it's kind of expected that at that point your routines are already polished and you're working towards perfection right from the start. And our mantra this year is to kind of not wait around to get a couple under our belt. We want to be coming out of the gates ready to go, which means this preseason, the next couple months are vital. And so between nutrition and a new conditioning, workout, as well as like skills testing, or skills testing this week, which is basically just an evaluation of where you stand, I would say we're starting everything a lot sooner. And we're all a lot more open-minded to change, and we have some new faces. We have a lot more depth, as it seems right now. So I think we're feeling really optimistic about this year.
When you are doing gymnastics at school, what do you like to study
So something I'm really passionate about is music. I love to play guitar and sing, and I think it's like therapeutic for me. So I like to put no pressure there, usually, just for fun. And otherwise, talking to my family. I'm always on a phone call with somebody, and just hanging out with friends. It's hard to have a spare moment as a student athlete, but when I do, it's usually those types of things.
What's something you wish that younger girls are gonna see when they perform, or who are hoping to grow up and be like you?
I hope that girls can see the personality that I have and that I'm not afraid to be who I am. I think club gymnastics is very stereotypical for having that straight and narrow mindset and like follow the rules type of thing, and just by behaviors and expressions and everything. And I wear my heart on my sleeve. I don't know if anyone's seen any pictures of me doing my thing or like reactions, but like what you see is what you get with me. So when I'm really excited, you can see that, and I'm proud of myself and not ashamed to do that. And so I hope that little girls grow up and know that they can do that as well, and they don't have to, shove their feelings down, I guess, which is kind of the nature of the sport sometimes, I'd say.
Last question for Kinsey.
What are some goals
My goals are to compete again on vault bars and beam. Hopefully I'll be the anchor on bars this year, which means I go last. That's a spot that usually a strong contender goes into and kind of like sets the tone of the last person in the lineup. I don't know. I have a couple like numerical goals in mind, which is touchy because sometimes you can't always control the score that the judge will give you, and you can only control your performance. So most of my goals right now are just little fixes from last year that I want to do differently, and a couple of scores in mind. Probably getting close to that 10-0 mark, maybe around 9.9s, 9.95s. That's my goal. I think, you start in the 9.8s. I did a little bit freshman year. Towards the end, I got some 9.9s, and then all of last year, I really excelled like over the 9.9 mark. So I just want to keep that up, and I also just want to be consistent again. As I mentioned before, I want to be that steady rock for my team, and that they can put me up on any event and count on me to hit. And that's pretty much it. Thank you.